Touchdown Tampa Bay, you're listening to the Pewtercast.
Welcome to the Pewtercast. I am Brent Allen, your host, joined as always by Ren Dax, my co-host. Ren, how's it going today, buddy?
This is a very special day for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, this is...
I'm going to. That's what this whole show's about.
Well, sit back and listen. Brent, just put the headset down because here I go. No, this is the episode that we teased on some previous pods, one we did with Gene from Buck What You Heard. We're at One Buc Place.
Yes.
We've done a tour.
Right now, as we speak.
We're probably in the room where you hear other Buccaneer podcasts.
This is the room where the Pewter Report guys make the Pewter Nation podcast. When they're here at One Buc, this is where Ira does his show. I have no clue about Rick Stroud, where he does his show at all. And I think that's it as far as the media podcasts go.
I think he does it over the phone.
He might.
Because they record late.
Yeah.
They record, because we're getting way off topic, but but they record 10, 11 o'clock at night to talk about what happened that day. So it's usually out right at midnight.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're here.
But we're here.
Yeah.
We are here, and like Brent said, we had the tour, and it's just really been without laying it on too thick, a dream come true. It was just something on your Buccaneers bucket list that I got
as a Buck fan, for sure.
As a Buck fan, that I got to check off today. And then the bonus of hey, look, I'm actually doing a podcast inside Buccaneer One Buc Place.
Which is pretty cool.
It's really cool.
It's pretty cool. So, listen, last season, during the 2017 season, I think it was around September or so, we had an episode. I feel like I talk about this because it was that big of a deal.
It was a fun.
It was a fun show.
Really fun show.
It was called One Short Day at One Buc Place, about a day that I kind of got to spend here at One Buc with some of the media guys here. And if you guys haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. It was a really fun episode. So here on the Offseason Tour, we are stopping at One Buc Place. And this is a little bit of kind of like a part two to that, but not really. It's going to be its own thing.
True.
Because the big difference this time is, Ren, you got to be with me here as we went through this. So that's kind of, I think, what this – we're just going to kind of go through our day and just tell people what it was like to be here at One Buc. Right. Kind of taking a break from football itself and just explore the fandom of what it is to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, Brent contacted me and he's like, hey, do you want to go on a tour about behind the scenes of One Buc? And I'm like, yes, I do. So he sent me the date, and I've been trying to ignore it as much as possible, but it's all I did yesterday was think about it, and I didn't get much sleep last night. 4 or 5 in the morning, I was still awake, blowing through episodes of AP Bio. By the way, that show is about 200% better than I thought it was going to be. Highly recommend you check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, free plug. And, got up today, and I was ready to go, and I jumped in the car. You came from Jacksonville, so what time?
I did.
What time did you get up and jump in the car?
It wasn't too late. It was about 8:30, I think, when I left the house. 8:30, 8:45.
Okay.
I had the kids. My son's spring break actually started today, so I shipped him and his sister off to the grandparents' house.
Nice.
So I didn't have to worry about them this morning. And my wife works at night, so it was basically I just waited for her to come home. And then, I got up, took a shower, shaved, came on down, and just drove. So I spent the first 3.5 or so hours on the road. Ren, what were you doing?
Sleeping.
Yes.
I was sleeping. No, but I left. We were supposed to be here at 1 o'clock, and they wanted us to be here 15 minutes early. And I live with traffic an hour away.
Right.
And that's all. And that's with traffic. And most of that hour
is because of traffic.
Yeah, half the time is because of traffic.
Because you're in St. Pete.
Yeah, I'm in St. Pete, just across the bridge from Tampa. I left, so, if they want us to be here by 12:45, so that means you would leave an hour, around 11:45. I left at 10:50. But once I sort of got on the road, I realized I'm like, you know what? I'm a little bit early, so I stopped at the store and you know grabbed some things, and then I went and grabbed a coffee. So I pulled into the parking lot about 5 after 12.
Right.
So I was a little early. But the reason I just sort of want to go through that whole story is because it was the first time. Have you ever been to One Buc Place? There's sort of a parking lot that everyone can use, and then about halfway up the drive is a guards gate.
Yeah.
You know, and you go up there and you're like, hey, you know, this is who I am, you know, and right in front of the guards gate are these iron gates.
Yeah.
You know, big emblem of the Buccaneer flag on there, and you can see through the bars of the gates, you can see One Buc Place, the big football cage, and the atrium there, and I've never gone in there. I've never been in there. And it was just, I don't want to say it gave me chills or goosebumps, but when I gave my name and she's like, okay, you know, go right on through.
You were on the list.
I was on the list, right to the front of the line.
She's like, you're a little early.
Yeah, exactly. A tad anxious, Mr. McDeer. So the gates parted, and it was just like, oh, I'm like, this is it. Like,
birds were singing.
Yeah, like,
the Hallelujah chorus was playing in the background. Light shone down from a cloud.
Yeah. It was just really nice to have those gates open, and I knew they were opening for me because Brent asked me. He's the one who really got me in here, but they're opening for me. And so I just went in and parked and just waited for Brent, and we got here early, and we got in line, got our lanyards.
So we got here. I mean, to go with that, and we'll kind of walk people through the tour,
right?
And in audio format, give people an idea of what it's like here at One Buc. But we got here. We were about 30 minutes by the time we met up. It was about 12:30, I think it was. Yeah. And so we got to go in through the big football. Mm-hmm. Right, and hung out in the lobby. Yeah. So I'm curious. I had seen the lobby. A lot of Bucs fans have been here and at least seen the lobby.
Right.
But it's sort of a museum of the history of the Buccaneers, kind of, sort of. What was your impression of the lobby as you got to kind of stay in there and hang out for about 30 minutes?
I was really surprised about how much stuff they sort of have crammed in there in such a small space.
Yeah.
It's the atrium underneath the football, so it's got high ceilings and things like that.
5 stories. We were told. That football is 5 stories.
Yes, and one of the largest footballs in the world.
The largest.
Yeah.
Because there's so much competition.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. The entry of one. Running unopposed as the largest football. But there's really cool displays. I've seen pictures. I've seen people post pictures of Lombardi Trophy, of sort of that statue or a diorama, if you will, of Chucky and Brooks and Sapp, sort of like in their Super Bowl Sunday regalia poses.
Which apparently, now I didn't know this until we got in the tour, some of the stuff that's in there, like the uniforms and like the headset that's on the statue of Chucky, is the actual like uniform or headset that was worn during that. When that picture apparently that diorama is when Rondé Barber caught that interception that sent the Bucs to the Super Bowl. That's where they snapped that. That's where they took that picture, that frame
of Gruden.
Oh, okay.
Well, because it can't be all of them because Rondé's in there.
Oh, that's
and
true.
Brad Johnson's in there.
Yeah,
Sapp's in there.
Fair enough. I honestly always thought it was from the Super Bowl itself, but they said
I'm sure all those poses are actually snapshots from each player at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but that action shot can't be happening all at once.
That's fair enough.
It just can't.
I think I always thought it was, but maybe it's not. Maybe you're
it's a picture of Rondé, or actually it was Brooks. It was a picture where he's pumping. It's just like boom, boom, boom. It was Brooks who caught it. And Brooks is in the diorama, so
okay, fair enough. So but
the actual
like
headset.
The headset is like inside the thing.
Yeah,
like the headset that John Gruden was wearing is like a part of the statue.
Right. Yeah, it was that. I thought that was
and like
that
the
was
jacket or the uniform or something.
That was probably the first eye-raising piece of trivia, like the 5-story football. Okay, great.
Whatever.
Yeah. I don't care.
I was there geeking out about the lighting rig in there because I'm a geek and I'm a production guy. So.
Yeah. Brent made sure to tell me how expensive each of those lights were, and there's probably about 20 of them, maybe 25. And then went all through different ways. They could have got them cheaper, or maybe there's props. And, but it was.
Ren's eyes are glazing over. He says,
yeah.
"I don't care."
No, I listened. It was interesting. Now I know. But there's some other, I guess, displays in there, and the one that I enjoyed the most was like sort of the alternate logos.
Like where they were going through the different concepts.
Even from like early concepts before they, finally finalized on Bucko Bruce, and then the early concepts when they moved on to that to getting to what?
To the flag and the skull.
And the skull.
Because apparently the skull for the longest time had an earring.
In the concept drawing.
Yeah, like for several iterations it had this big earring.
Yeah, I think that was a sort of an ode, a wink, a nod back to the Bucko Bruce logo because he has earring. But yeah, that's why. And then they had a bunch
at what
of
point
helmets.
they said, "Let's peel the skin off Bucko Bruce's face and have the skull. His skull is."
And we'll just take the knives. We'll put two of them. We'll put it behind him, and we'll keep the orange, the
football.
creamsicle. Yeah, football. There we go. We're all set. I think we're going to ditch the earring, though.
Right. So anyway, with that, they call us all together. They start the tour.
Right.
And they lead us through the big double doors. Like this is when you see the
One
video.
more thing, real quick.
Oh yeah,
There's also a Super Bowl ring in one of the display.
There is. Yeah. One of the box that it came in, the blue Tiffany's box.
Yeah. So if you ever, I just thought that was
if jewelry's your thing.
Those were the highlights for me. Well, I mean, I've never, how close up am I going to be to an actual Buccaneer Super Bowl ring?
Yeah. I got to put one on my finger.
Shut up, Brent.
Shelton Quarles.
Never heard of him. Doesn't exist.
So they gather us all, and like if you ever see those videos of like when O.J. Howard arrived at One Buc facility after the draft, like everybody's clapping him in as he's walking. He goes through these double doors, like those are the double doors they let us through.
Yeah, exactly. And
it was a hallway.
Yeah, and then it opens up into every single office you've ever seen, ever been in office building in the United States, except everything has Buccaneer logos on it. I mean, there's nothing too extraordinary about the building itself past that sort of, museum first part, except everything's tagged. But we immediately go into, as soon as you go through those double doors, boom. You take like 3 steps and you make your first left and you're in the auditorium.
Yeah.
The big room with the stage, the one where they held,
That room was big too, man.
Yeah. That's where they held the, if you remember Hard Knocks, that's where they held the rookie talent
Symposium,
show. And you've seen, so you know what I'm talking about, the one with the big stage.
Yeah.
And the big screen TV. They sat us down in the chairs, which was cool.
Buddy, that was not a big screen TV. That was a movie theater screen.
Correct. Yeah, you are correct.
With HD projectors. They actually handed you 3D glasses on your way in.
That is fake news.
Jason Light was...
But so we got to sit in there,
and
they made it a point to tell us that these chairs are super sturdy. They're going to hold.
And they were really big.
And they're really big.
And I was like, they're just a little small.
Prince like, I'm big. But she made it a point about how much weight they could hold, and they were bolted to the floor, but they were nice. They were comfy, and they talked about the this XOS machine.
You were really into that.
I thought. Basically what it is just an archival system. She said any play the Buccaneers have ever been on film, this machine can pull it up and you can watch it.
I'm pretty sure, and I might be wrong, that it's more than just the Buccaneers. Like they can pull up probably any play from any team from any game.
You're probably
at any
right.
game as long as they have footage of it.
Right. If the footage exists, it's in this machine and they can like type in a few keywords and
even if they don't, then somebody has played that team in Madden, and they've screenshotted that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
they simulated it.
That was behind curtain number 2.
Yeah.
But so we got in there. We got a short video.
It's a mod on the Xbox.
We got a short video from Jason Light, and I was actually sort of taking notes, and I never saw the video because I thought it was going to be like a 5-minute, like video. But it was just a very short, like 30-second hype video.
Yeah. So by the way, being in that room, watching it on that big of a screen with that sound system was really effective. As far as I was ready to go let's go Buck football.
Yeah, it was, and I would agree with you, except that
you were heads down.
I wasn't watching. I missed the whole entire thing. I did. It was bad for me. But I'm not really a hype guy. The couple times they asked us to cheer. Why
You did not.
I did not. That's not my thing. I don't own a lot of Buck swag. I will never buy a jersey with another grown man's name on the back of it. It's just my style. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nothing against anybody else that has swag or wears jerseys or anytime someone yells Tampa, you yell Bay back. It's not my thing, man. So anyway, after that downer, where did we move on from there?
We were in the auditorium and we went through the back doors into the media wing.
Yeah,
is where we came into.
Yeah, I was excited to see that. I want to see if I could see the media room.
Right. So we kind of go. If you listen to the One Short Day at One Buc Place, I talked about how the media guys kind of come in on this little side door on the left of the building, kind of by the practice,
like a key fob.
And just a little key fob. And you go in, and there's just this little tiny hallway, and their library cubicle room. Right. Is there on the left, and then there's the press conference room on the right, and then there's like two little rooms where they do where we are actually right now, where they do the podcast, and they do apparently the next room over is like when Allie is on Good Morning Football or something like that.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. So that's where they do that.
Yeah, they have this whole room set up, and it's done up like Buccaneer. There's a big Buccaneer backdrop. Yeah. There's a little 2-seat table with shiny helmets on it, and then there's a chair. And behind that chair, they got a big screen TV, and then just across, it's not a very big room,
right? But on the chair though is like the earpiece that they can wear,
exactly.
And you see the microphones in there, and they've got the camera set up.
Yeah, and they got a real nice rig on the other side of the room. So anytime when you're watching like Good Morning Football or ESPN, and live from One Buc Place, we have Allie Marpet. That's the room where they're recording. I took a couple pictures in there, and so that was something that unexpected. That was kind of cool to watch. But going back to what you were saying about how small the area the media guys really get to go, once you get in that door, walking from that door to the media room where, like you said, it's the cubicles where they actually do their work, to walking to a podcast room, to walking to the podium room, where those are the ones you see every day, like after training camp practice. The weekly Jameis Winston, Dirk Cutter.
Throughout the season,
it's that room. But from the door where you come in to get to all those places, it can't be 20 steps like total in each direction.
That's double what I think it is.
So, yeah,
it's like 10.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's tiny.
The
media guys are very quarantined.
Yeah, all access would not be the word I would use. No, but hey, look how excited we are just to be in the building.
Exactly.
I'm playing media guy for the day.
Right.
But so they didn't let us go in the media room because they said there might be people in there. And Brent and I weren't like, well, we know them all, so
they're our buddies.
We're besties. We're talking about.
Follow him on Twitter.
Exactly. Greg Allman follows me on Twitter. He knows me.
Speaking of which, as we were walking kind of in here to do this, we got to pass by Greg Allman and just sat and talked with him. He was going to Disney World.
Yeah.
He's going to pick up his kid going to Disney World.
I don't know if he wants to share his family comings and goings on the podcast, but whatever. Shouldn't have said that. Got that.
Egg Gallman is going to, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, we did get to see Greg and chatted with him for a little while.
Yeah.
Brent was digging for some Jensen gossip.
I was. Well, to see if they heard anything.
Right.
That's all.
Because we'd been off Twitter for about an hour and a half.
Yeah. Because we were on the tour.
Yeah.
But anyway, to your point of this is a relatively small area, and honestly, I'm sitting here like, hey, Ren, remember when we did that show? That's where that happens, and that's where this happens, and here's where I went, and here's where that story happened.
Yeah, I was getting which was really nice because, we switched chairs for that show, and I was like, asking you, and basically like as a fan, like, okay, tell me what, okay, wait, stop, go back.
Yeah.
So anytime we'd see something that Brent talked about in the show, he'd be like, this is it, this is what I was talking about, which made it really nice for me.
Yeah. So an example of that, when we went into the press conference room,
right?
I said on the show, there's this little speaker that they have in the back because they don't have speakers in the room. But there's this little speaker in the back, and as the media guys go in, they drop their phones on record, and the speaker is just recording what's coming off the microphone off the stage.
Right.
But it's way in the back, and I was kind of like, hey, that's where that speaker is.
Yeah.
That's that speaker.
And I took a picture of it.
Right.
The interesting thing
follow Rendax at Ren_Daxt on Twitter. He'll post all those photos for you.
They will be up shortly.
Or you can go to Facebook.com/Rendaxt.
No. Ren does not do Facebook.
Anyway.
The most interesting thing I found about that room, besides the chairs, which we'll get to.
Yeah. The chairs, yes.
Was the podium.
Yeah, I didn't know this before.
The podium can actually, the top half of the podium can move up and down depending on the person who's speaking their height.
Yeah.
Which and it's automatic. Like there's hydraulics in the podium.
Yeah. It's just a guy on the side who's pressing a button.
Yeah.
Until it's where it needs to be.
He did it. Yeah. He showed it like move up and down. I thought that was a lot of forethought was put into that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really. I was like, oh, well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then we get to the chairs.
So a little backstory on this.
Brent doesn't like chairs.
It's not that I don't like chairs. It's
Brent doesn't like these chairs.
At that other episode, I made a deal just to say how uncomfortable those chairs were.
Yes.
Because you'd sit in them and you just kind of like fall back.
Yes.
And I
took a picture of the chairs as well.
You did take a picture of the chairs, and you were a little incredulous at me at saying how uncomfortable these chairs would be.
I scoffed.
You really did.
I don't know what incredulous means, but I scoffed.
So, with that said, I looked at you and I said, "These are those chairs," and you went, "Oh yeah," and I made you sit. So your assessment of said chairs.
Go ahead, sit in them. I'm like, all right, fine. Well, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see the pictures. They're kind of a funky design, but the problem with the chairs, now that I've heard your story and I've seen them in person, and I've sat them. The problem with this chair is they're not what they seem.
Right.
They seem like a very basic, not terribly uncomfortable, but very basic, rigid chair.
Yeah.
But when you sit in them, they recline. They're like on a spring. But they recline more than like a rocker.
Right.
So it's really
because like the back goes down, but then your seat scoots out a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like it does this.
And it does when you look at them, you're like, that's you don't think in your head that it's going to happen. It's like picking up a glass of orange juice and you think it's iced tea and it tastes terrible. It could be the best orange juice in the world, but you were expecting iced tea.
Right.
So it tasted like crap. And that's sort of what happens with this chair. You're expecting to sit down and put your back on it, and like there's no give, and all of a sudden it's like, like you're stepping on a banana peel. It's like, whoop. So I can see from someone of your size,
stature. Stature is the word.
Stature of your stature. Yes. That could be a severe problem.
It's just you can still sit in the chair. It's just it's a comfort thing.
Yeah,
But I want to go on record by saying I now personally feel vindicated for my hatred of the chairs. Not a hatred. That's a strong word. Not that at all. Ren, I want you to talk about the carpet.
Oh,
because
I forgot about that. I didn't put that in the notes.
The lady giving the tour. Go ahead. I'll let you.
So we're in the same room. We're talking about one with the podium, the one where you see all the press conferences, the weekly press conferences and stuff. And
it's the carpet in this room, by the way. Not that the listeners out there.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's not.
These are the leftover pieces. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sure. And she's at the podium. She's sort of talking about how the podium goes up and down, right. And
And there's what's the group's like? What, 50 people?
And they said that was the largest one they'd had.
Okay.
I was sitting in the back when we went to the first room, the big auditorium, and the guy was like, "Geez, like this is a big group." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, usually it's like 20 people tops."
Wow.
Yeah, and we were like,
there's like 50 people.
Yeah.
So and I say that just to say there's a lot of people in this room at this point.
There's a lot of people in this room, and 50 people trying to get through one door takes a second. So we're coming in, and Brent's showing me about the speaker where you put your phone, and she's talking about the podium go up and down. All of a sudden, I heard her say, notice anything special, or you notice anything about the carpet? And I look down at it, and it's movie theater carpet is what it is.
It is.
And what you know by movie theater carpet is it's extremely, extremely busy.
Yes.
And why is it extremely, extremely busy? Because in high traffic areas, in a place where you drop like popcorn, if the carpet's all one color and you drop one piece of popcorn, it looks filthy.
Right.
And a carpet that's super busy, you drop the one piece of popcorn, you can't see it. So it's just sort of that's the thinking behind it. And you look down, and then
because the media guys all bring popcorn into the
but you know what I'm saying. It's a high
right,
traffic area.
It is.
And
it is.
And people know this, and it's in office buildings and things like that. But
so she asked the question. So, what do you think about the carpet? Did you notice anything about the carpet?
Notice anything about the carpet? Yeah. And you've listened to the pod. Sometimes I might pop off on something, and I just go, "Yeah, it's terrible." And
loudly,
everybody heard it.
Loudly,
everybody heard it. But
and she goes, "Okay."
But the guy who was sort of the corraller, the end guy who's making sure no one wandered off and the group stayed together, he laughed.
Yeah.
So and you laughed.
I did because I knew it was you, and I went, "Oh,
it's terrible." So yeah, I forgot about that. But everyone got a good laugh. But
yeah.
I did keep my mouth shut the rest of the tour.
So they let us go out the door. Now I had a question answered for me at this point.
Okay.
Because the question I had was there's a door just to the left of the stage, which is where Coach Cutter and Coach Smith and the people that go in and out.
Right.
And I wanted to know what was behind that door.
That's right.
Turns out it's just a hallway.
It's another hallway.
Just a hallway. Nothing special.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, another picture on the wall of Gerald McCoy.
Yeah.
What a shocker.
Yeah. So just a hallway.
Yeah.
So we went out that door.
And we walked out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
They took us out to the practice field, which looked totally different without the bleachers.
Mm-hmm. The practice fields. Okay, so when you're there for training camp, you're along the side of one of the training camps, and then you have one field directly in front of you, and then behind that field, width-wise, is a second field, and then there's a third field back there. We were on the ends where the field goal posts were.
The end zone side.
Right, the end zone sides. You don't realize until you're on that side how wide this is.
Yeah.
Just how spread out this is. It does not look that wide.
It's a big piece of land.
It is.
And with the bleachers gone and all the tables gone and all the tents gone, the media tents, the season ticket holder or the suite holder tents, there's no food tent. Everything is gone.
So what you're saying, the tents are gone.
Did everyone get that? Everyone get that? Yes.
P.T. Barnum's circus was gone.
It was gone.
This is the greatest show.
Yeah, without that, it looks really different. They're doing some maintenance on the field. And the only thing I really say about the field that I found interesting because I've been there, lots and lots of times, was
for Training Camp Diaries with Ren Dax, which the plan is to have a return of that this coming off season.
That is a plan as of now.
Right.
Things will change, or things change, always do. But as of now, the foreseeable future, it's a go. That the slope of the practice field, the drainage of the practice field is the same as it is at Ray J. Which I thought that was really
cool.
smart.
Yeah,
I thought that was really smart.
Yeah.
Besides that was about it. She said some other things. I've been there, 50 times.
And just so people the practice fields are on the side of One Buc.
I've already seen the airport.
Right. Like the practice fields are on the side of One Buc. The next bunch of rooms, I just want people to get this, they take us outside and then they bring us all outside like a big 50-person snake and bring us inside one door. And then we turn around and come back out, and we go we're walking down the side of the building. We didn't actually get to walk through the building for a lot of this. We keep bouncing outside to
Once
get to.
Once we started to get to the area where the players might be, it was okay, no more pictures.
Right. So the next place we got to eat was the cafeteria.
That is correct.
The all red cafeteria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you've seen it in videos. If you follow people on Instagram, you've seen it.
Yeah.
She talked about the size of the plate, which I will let Brent.
14 inches. The reason I know that is because that is the size of a large pizza from any major pizza chain in the United States. So imagine a plate as big as probably what many of you are having for dinner tonight.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And apparently it can hold this is the one that I just how do you know?
You scoffed at.
I totally scoffed.
You were incredulous at.
It could hold up to 10 pounds of food.
That's what she said. 10 pounds of food. And Ren's trying to figure out, how do you know?
Where's the break-off point? You put the 10.5 pound of spaghetti on it, the plate shatters.
So they put the plate on a scale and then teared it out and then just, all right, put some more food on, put some more food, and then it cracks.
I mean, it's I just don't.
Okay, but still, a plate as big as a large pizza, imagine 10 pounds worth of food. That's what these football players are. That's what many of these football players are eating.
No, what's the size of the plate that they eat off of?
Just go with me. That's a lot of freaking food. Anyway, go ahead.
It can be a lot of freaking food.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the point. And Brent and the tour guide were both very impressed by this stat and wanted to make sure everyone knew it. I, on the other hand, am not. I am scoffing at look at the size of this plate. It can hold 10 pounds of food. Thank you very much. But the cafeteria was cool.
Yeah.
Big tables. The chairs are real nice. They all got Buccaneer emblems on
Yep.
it. There was a private dining room, sort of off
where they can woo the signers.
Yeah,
or
where
something.
if they want to have a nice dinner.
Right. All the schlubs had to eat in the leather covered logoed chairs.
I'm sure Jensen probably had a meal there.
Probably
a couple days ago.
Yes.
With the Bucs, the Bucs staff up there, and then they shuffle us back out, towards the practice field area.
I was thinking when they said that, like, you wonder how many players are like, yeah, I got to have a meal in there once. Like while they're sitting out there eating their cereal, I got to eat in there once. It was cool.
As I see the people they're wooing through the glass.
Right.
I remember when they used to like me like that.
Right.
So they take us back out. We walk further down, and there's sort of an atrium between kind of like the work, like the docking area, mailroom area, and the actual offices. And so now we're sort of in this covered atrium area.
Yeah.
And they take us to the weight room.
The weight room.
No.
Yeah, the weight room.
No, that's a lie. Sorry. They first take us to the Players' Lounge.
Oh, that's right. The players have a lounge. It was a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it kind of was.
I mean, it looks like that lounge could probably hold maybe 10 people comfortably.
Yeah.
15 people comfortably if you're just lounging.
Yeah.
20, it starts getting a little crowded.
Yeah, it's a place to go to sit if you don't want to sit in the cafeteria.
Right.
Sort of like an exclusive place because, if you want to sit and get some work done or sit and maybe, mess on your phone or whatever you want to do during your downtime, but you're still in the facility, that's sort of where you go.
Sure.
Because the only other place you can go is in front of your locker, but that's not
right.
That's not super comfortable. So there's a couple pool tables in there, red felt, Buccaneer logo.
They were small though. These aren't like competition-sized pool tables.
No.
Like these are, you bought one for your small tiny basement.
Yeah, they look like 6-footers.
Yeah.
Instead of 8-footers.
Yeah.
There was a couple of TVs in there, an Xbox, a PlayStation in there, a juice bar.
Which was interesting.
Was interesting. With 4 Vitamixes. She's like, the players go back there, make whatever they want. And I'm like, if they make whatever they want, why do you need 4 Vitamix? I think that thing's manned during the season.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be.
I would say. Yeah.
Well, it was at that point she told us that the Buccaneers are only one of 9 teams that has a full-time nutritionist on staff for these guys.
Yeah, that's what she said.
So
she also said there used to be video games before the juice bar was there.
Yeah, like arcade games.
Yeah,
like arcade video
like
games.
Full-size cabinet video games.
Yeah.
And I should have asked her which ones.
Pac-Man.
Well, she probably didn't know.
Road Rage.
It seemed like she was new.
Yeah.
Like
basically any movie that The Rock is doing these days, that was a video game back in the 80s that they used to have there.
Rampage.
Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Yeah. Rock's in the new Pac-Man.
Donkey Kong.
Crazy
Climber.
Yeah.
Pole Position.
That was a good show. All right, back on. So we're in the lounge.
Galaga. We're in the lounge. We're in the players' lounge. And that was pretty much.
And tell them who walks through the door.
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody did. Sorry. Go ahead.
What I missed? Who? What happened? So she goes through Cole Gardner.
Think I left a sock here last offseason?
I attacked him like a badger. Rah! Right for the eyes. So we walk back out towards the field again, and then we make our way to the weight room, which is sort of over in the, like I said, now we're actually in the atrium, sort of over in the work side. They kept us very close in the weight room, lots of liability in that room.
Right.
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
A couple of, it said it's one of the largest weight rooms in National Football League.
Sure.
And it is big.
Yeah.
A couple of things that caught my eye was one side, sort of the side of the weight room that I always thought was glass that looked over the practice fields are actually garage doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could open those
to,
I guess, sort of hot yoga?
Well, to let the guys work out in, like, a part of acclimating them to the heat of Florida.
Right.
So you're working out in the heat. Like,
Right.
You're not just getting to work out in air conditioning.
Yeah.
I mean, they can, but...
And this is not like, a long, big room with one garage door, like the whole side that faces the field, like all
probably half a dozen of them easy.
Yeah. So I'm sure once they pop those things open, it gets human in there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, you might have seen videos about Football Friday, I believe it is, and whoever's the first person in the door to come work out gets to play their
song or their mantra or whatever they want. Yeah.
And it seems to be the joke is you play, the fight song from the college you went to.
Right.
And the reason they have that speaker is because there's no headphones. Like you're not allowed. It's an actual rule.
Right.
Like you cannot wear headphones while you're working out. And I found that.
Never mind the one like random guy who was there working out who had headphones in.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh man,
he did.
I would have.
I looked at the tour guide, the guy like who's one of the wranglers, and I said, well, "What about him?" He's like, "Yeah, they don't always listen to it."
Yeah. It was like, that's Once now that I said that, someone would be like, "I was in there, like, I walked by training camp 4, and
right,
they all had their headphones in. Or there's going to be a video that comes out." But
I would assume that when everybody is in there and everything's going full tilt, that's the rule, and it makes sense.
Non-private workout time.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Now I've got a story about that. So I wound up talking to the guy because I was asking him, like, do the players come in and use this during the off season?
Right.
Like, yeah, absolutely they do. I said, okay, because we had a question a few weeks ago on one of our shows, Ren, about the CBA.
Right.
And what is it allowed the contact between players and coaches and the organization as a whole and things like that? And he said, basically, the coaches and the players are just not allowed to talk.
Right.
And so I asked kind of the clarifying question, like,
because we brought that up, it was like, well, what is that? Like,
what does that mean? Yeah, that was the question I asked.
Like,
right.
Hey, how you doing? Ooh. Like, fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So apparently that's actually the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, they're not allowed to even say hi. And the story that the guy told us, he said a few years ago when Mark Dominic was here, there was a player who in the offseason had lost his mother or something.
A family member.
A family member. And Mark called this player to wish him condolences. Because, he's a human being.
Right.
Might not have been the best GM, but he's still a human being.
And the guy works for him.
Yeah.
It's an employee.
And apparently Mark Dominic got fined by the NFL.
Right. For tampering.
For player contact.
Yeah.
To which I said to the guy, I was like, well, I think if I was in that position, I'd say, screw the fine. I'm going to call my guy and say, I'm sorry to hear about your family member.
Yeah. Best $5,000 ever spent, or however much it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
anyway.
which goes on to sort of the, I guess, questions like, how do they find out? How do they police that? But apparently it's it's very strict and they take it, but which is
because the player tweets, I'd like to thank Johnson and Joe and this person and that person and all these, and Mark Dominic for calling me to wish me, and somebody goes, oh.
Yeah, but
it's something stupid like that.
But if he gets fined for that, and everybody and their grandma knew that Kirk Cousins was going to the Minnesota Vikings, a week before the tampering period started, it was just, it's like how, so. But it was interesting to get a definitive answer, and a story to back it up. So that was about it for the weight room. Yeah. So they talked about,
they had a loft cardio area, like you had the weights, and then like a loft area kind of over the thing where they did all the cardio stuff.
Yeah, like above the offices. I guess the one office where the trainer was. I kept wanting to take pictures in places they told us not to. Yeah. Like I wanted to snap a couple in the weight room, but that was an area where don't take pictures.
Yeah. So don't say on our show if you actually did or not though.
I didn't.
We'll move on.
I didn't.
Yes. He says as he's putting air quotes up.
I don't know what air quotes are. So we're back in the atrium, and you've seen that. And the tour guide sort of told us, like, this is, if you've ever seen videos when they do the Thanksgiving turkey giveaway.
Yeah, the turkey time with the O-line, or even just when the players are leaving to go to the airport.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to get to because I found this really interesting. I'm not sure that you heard it.
No, I heard it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah? You are?
I thought it was cool, too. Go ahead.
I thought it was cool. I'm like, I wonder how much that costs. So as you see these pictures, and my girlfriend's a big fan of these, we sort of rate the guys' outfits, something we do together. When they go to away games, they get sort of their itineraries and their tickets, and they're walking towards the bus. The Bucs photographer will take a picture of them, and then they take all the guys took a picture and they put it up on the website. So we're sort of in that area. What she said was the TSA agents actually come out there
from the airport
check their baggage, and basically pre-check them. It's like pre-check-in, and that they do it at One Buc Place, like in that atrium area, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it's because what she was saying was like, have you ever gone to the airport and there's a super long line and you're late? Because we can't have our guys being late on their plane because there's a holdup at security or something like that. Like, that's why they do it.
Yeah, just leave early.
Yeah, well,
it's one of those privileges things.
It's
it's one of those things where I'm like, but if they pay for it,
right,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
If it's just something that...
Oh, I'm sure the team pays for it, but you still... I mean, imagine you have to, like, go through whatever to say, hey, for our team, and I'm going to assume that this is something that probably most NFL teams do. I don't know.
Agreed. It's one of those things where you don't think about it.
Right.
I bet almost every professional team does.
Yeah. But you've got to imagine what that looked like to go through and actually make that happen. Yeah. Like, because at some point, once they get on that bus or once they clear screening, they have to stay secure all the way to the airport from a TSA standpoint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because they don't.
And how do you enforce that?
Exactly. I mean, you can't get off the bus and go pee because you might pick up a gun while you're in the bathroom.
Right.
So it's
or a shampoo bottle over 2.5 ounces.
Yes. That has, liquid in it. Anyway, but so I found that I thought that was just an interesting little tidbit.
It was something like you would never ever think of.
Just kind of the operation of how it works.
Because you always see the picture with, like, they have
the ticket in their hand.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, I think it's their itinerary, or maybe it's their ticket. Like, okay, we got them all together here. Here's your ticket before you have to go through security and screening. But apparently they just went through it. Mm-hmm. So then we sort of circle back, and we're back on sort of the office side of the building, and we go into one of the meeting rooms, where, she said there was 11 of them, the offensive line, quarterback room, wide receiver room.
Right.
And we go into the O-line room.
Right, which she also made it a point about the chairs.
Yes.
Yet again.
Yes.
This is the O-line room. You could tell because of the big chairs.
Because of the big comfy chairs that are reinforced. But they had...
And they were comfortable, by the way.
Oh, did you sit one?
I sat one. Those were comfortable.
Not like
they didn't have armrest on them.
Nice. Yeah, good point. But there were still some sort of, scribblings on the whiteboard and stuff about... stuff for the Saints game.
Yeah.
That were up there, and it sort of had the Saints depth chart.
Defensive backfield and stuff.
All broken down there on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was interesting. I saw a still picture, you could tell it was from film, and they froze it and they printed it out, and they had the players. It was both tackles. Uh-huh. So it was Donovan, and actually in the picture it was
Wester?
No, Dot.
Dot. Yeah.
It was Dot. Yeah. So it was earlier in the season, but it was a still frame, and it had both of them at the same time showed going into their drop step into pass protection, and each foot was circled in red. Now, I don't know exactly what that meant,
right.
But it was just cool to sort of see a little bit of...
Maybe that means they're working with Donovan on his footwork, technique.
They had dots circled too.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know if it was like we're circling this and putting it up on the wall because it's perfect.
Right.
Or we're circling this and putting it on the wall because they're both bad and you need to work on it. But it was cool just to sort of see a little bit of, you can sort of get the wheels turning about what goes on in these rooms in the meeting room.
And they also, on the walls, they had these like sayings.
Yeah.
That the tour guide said that Coach Cutter had those put up. Wherever he got the sayings from, I don't know. But it felt a little high schoolish to me. Cool inspirational sayings.
At the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on.
Right. Or something like, there was one of them that said like, good enough is not world class.
Right.
Or, and these are things that probably Coach Cutter said at some point in a meeting somewhere. That these guys wanted to put on the wall. But, it had me thinking, like, so let's say the head coaching situation were to have changed this past offseason.
Yeah.
Would those have been all ripped down?
Or
and something else put up there? The idea that each regime kind of gets their own...
Gets to decorate the room they want to?
Yeah. And he's got 11 rooms. What are we going to say to the wide receivers?
Like when you move into...
Catch the damn ball.
When you move into the new house with the wife.
Right.
Like she gets to...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you just compared Dirk Cutter to a wife.
Could have said Ivanka Trump.
You could. All right. So, so we're in those rooms and we're kind of going through it. And it just, I mean, that room though had your favorite little new toy in it. Like all the individual player rooms.
Oh, the XOS.
The XOS
machine, which, I don't know how much, like, when it was in the auditorium, I was like, wow, that must be pretty expensive. And then she's like, yeah, we have essentially 11 more.
Yeah.
Is what she's
I would assume. Now, if it's me, there's a central server somewhere that is the actual machine, and these are just terminals that you can put a bunch of terminals wherever you want.
Right, yeah. And you're probably right. But, she made it a point to talk about the XOS machine. Which
this room was a lot bigger than the quarterback room we saw in Hard Knocks.
Oh, yeah. She said this is one of the biggest ones because, well,
of the guys.
You carry it's probably the position you carry the most players at.
Yeah. Besides
defensive line, and once again the size. But besides that, it was pretty drab. It was just like a classroom.
Yeah.
It was. It was just all one color, white, black, whatever it was.
So out of the classrooms.
Out of the classroom,
we get to go into the Holy of Holies.
Yes, we go to
the inner sanctuary.
Yeah, we are in the locker room.
Yes,
we're in the locker.
How many
room.
butts did you see?
How many butts?
Yes.
None.
We're in the locker room, naked rear ends.
Oh, 2, I think.
Yeah.
But those were pictures that were in Cole Gardner's old locker.
TJ Ward's.
TJ Ward, whose plaque is still up.
It's still up, yeah. So is Evan Smith and Kevin Pamfields, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, their plaque is still up.
I was looking around to see what other
stuff in the locker. Like, you look at TJ Ward's locker, and he's got like 9 pairs of shoes, and they're not all cleats. And you're thinking to yourself, like, he's never coming back for these.
Probably not.
Never.
Yeah.
And are they going to send them to him?
No.
Because when you get cut during training camp, you know what they give you? A garbage bag.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, get out.
Yeah. But I mean, it makes you sit there and wonder, like, so that Monday when everybody comes in to clear out their locker, like.
They're just taking their personal effects.
Yeah, like, did he just not take it? I mean, was that the stuff he just said, screw it, I don't care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want or I don't care.
But she did say.
Or they're not mine. But there was, like I said, there's lots of shoes in there.
But like, they're also talking about, like, so when you send mail, they actually just deliver the mail to the players' lockers.
Yeah.
And around the room, there were lots of packages.
Laying in front of people's lockers.
And soon to be, several players will have their own little Pewdie. Award that they'll be able to get. I did.
He's caved.
Just whatever. It's easier.
You mean the mini Lombardi?
The mini Lombardi. Yeah, they'll have their own little mini Lombardi.
They're called the Pewdies?
There will be 6 players who have mini Lombardis. Levante David will have 4 of these boxes at his locker.
Yeah.
But anyway, but she was saying how Evan Smith had a grill delivered to his locker.
Yeah, I used to.
And he picked it up last week, so he's apparently still around. You used to send grills to players?
I'll get to that story. But he was still on the team until Monday.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Yeah. So he picked it up last week.
Yeah. Well, technically, so is TJ Ward.
But he's not on the team anymore.
Not now.
Until Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you said, I mean, Evan Smith and TJ, they're in the same boat. They were both technically on the team till Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point was TJ Ward's locker's full of stuff that he's never come back and get. A week before Evan Smith was officially released, he was getting grills delivered. So it still sort of made sense.
Yeah.
But
I want to know who sent Evan Smith a grill. Like, did he just order it on Amazon and had it delivered to the locker?
That's what I used to do.
Or did somebody...
Evan,
I'm going to send you... So it was a Packers fan is actually what it was.
Oh, God. Don't.
So, Evan, thanks for the win.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Oh, yeah. It could be. Sort of get back to what I was saying, what I used to do. When I would run restaurants and I had like a big package that, I live in an apartment, you get that little sliver of a thing and it's like, UPS, missed it once, missed it twice, missed it 3 times. Now you got to drive all the way to our, super center to come pick it up. I used to send it to the restaurant.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
There you go.
And I'd get there, and there'd always be somebody to grab it and always somebody to check it in, even if I wasn't working. So
there you go.
That's probably what he did as well.
Let's bring it back to this. What did you think of the locker room? You're in the locker room. You've heard people describe it. You've seen clips of it on interviews and stuff like that. What did you think being in the locker room?
I thought the lockers were a lot closer together than I thought they – I mean, when you see it, it's just sort of, I don't want to say it's off-putting, but it's kind of like, wow, they are kind of like right next to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
She said that some players get 2 lockers just to spread out their stuff.
And any player you'd think of, that's who it is. Like,
yes.
But some, not true, because some players don't.
Yeah.
Because like Mike Evans doesn't have 2 lockers.
He didn't have one, yeah.
Levante David didn't have 2 lockers.
No.
Jameis did. McCoy did. Quan did. So I think it's something you sort of have to ask or finagle into. I mean, if Jameis was like, hey, I want your locker, you're moving. But it was interesting. But I wish I would have spent more time sort of studying where everybody was. I found it interesting because back by the
Did you notice that the positions are grouped together? Did you see that? Were you happen to?
Not quite. This is what I'm getting to because when you first walk in, it's sort of like if you walk in and like make an immediate turn your head to the left. There's Mike Evans, Adam Humphries,
Chris Godwin,
Yeah. Now Deshaun Jackson's is up by Jameis's, right next to Jameis.
Right.
So
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. The linebackers were sorted together.
Yeah. But Deshaun's is right next to the door. And apparently being next to the door, like any of the doors is like primetime real estate.
So you can get away from the media without
yeah. So like if you look on the other side going into the bathroom, it's DeMar and Levante.
Okay.
Like they're right there on the edge. You have Deshaun. I don't know who's on the other side of the other door.
Yeah.
But apparently like that's
Grimes.
It's Grimes. Yeah. So apparently that's like that's a thing.
It's Park Place.
Yeah.
It's sort of like
you wonder if Deshaun negotiated for that in his contract.
I don't. When it gets to that point, I don't think you don't negotiate. You just
say I'm going to do it.
I'm taking that one. Yeah. Oh, and as you're signing your name. Oh, and by the way.
Oh, Adam Humphries, I'm taking your number
and your locker. So the only other thing that I saw that I thought was really interesting was she kept talking about, hey, it doesn't smell like a locker room.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And each locker are sort of like a little box, and each out of a little box has these 4 posts that stick up on it. And I looked in Grimes' locker, and his cleats were on top of it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you think it is. It's there to suck out the odor and dry the cleats and the gloves. There's 4 posts, like 2 for cleats, 2 for gloves. Honestly, everyone had 2 pairs of shoes on them that were using them. No one had like gloves on them. But they were purposely built into each locker to take the foot odor out. And not make the room smell like a locker room.
Right. And it didn't smell like a locker room at all.
It honestly had the freshest air of any other room in the building.
It really did.
Yeah.
It really did. Now, the other thing, too, was each individual locker, I don't know if you noticed this, had an air return vent in the back of the locker.
I did not.
Yeah. So, and I didn't notice that until she said it, and I started looking around, and I looked behind that little box. Each one had its own, and so it's like whatever funk is in your clothes or just coming off your body as you're standing there in front of it, it's pulling the funky air.
It's constantly recycling.
Yeah. To go, so you actually get, it doesn't just, which is good on a lot of levels. So, you imagine germs and things like that would normally fester in a locker room. That doesn't happen in a professional locker room, at least not this one. At least not. It's mitigated at some point. Let's put it that way.
Happened in this building.
It has. Mersa. How you feeling over there, Ren, after being in that locker room?
Yeah, good point.
Anything falling off?
Yeah, if I was feeling
feeling a little queasy?
No, if I was feeling a little punchy today, I might have made a Mersa joke. So. That was about it.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of dark wood. You sort of like took a peek in people's lockers. And trust me, it was nothing earth-shattering. Jameis had sort of a little quote cut out of Muhammad Ali.
Did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, a couple people. I couldn't see what was on Levante's locker, but there was another sort of maybe an inspirational message. Who knows? But mostly it's just like jerseys, cleats, like all Buccaneer gear. And the occasional package that had been delivered. Yeah. And, that was pretty much it. So.
Jordan McCoy had a lot of packages.
He had a lot of packages, and he had a lot of gear.
He did.
Like, he had 2 lockers.
Yeah. But apparently he's around all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's they didn't even make a point to say that. It was just more of a passing comment. It's like Gerald's here all the time.
Yeah.
So, another one of those check marks and the guy's working hard.
Yeah.
So after that, we finally, I was most excited about, got to go. We walked over to the indoor practice facility.
Oh, yeah.
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 Because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, that was the end of the tour. What? No. Yeah, we got to go to the indoor practice facility, which that was cool. You documented the building of the indoor practice facility last year on Training Camp Diaries with Ren Dext. Making a return, playing forward later on. And now you got to go in.
After all my hard work of speculation, telling you what's going to
I'd say it's 5/6 of the way done today. 13/16 of the way done today.
The hard-hitting reporting you get from Ren's Training Camp Diaries. But it was good to get inside.
Yeah.
The first thing I'll say, which I found very surprising, was officially the team hasn't committed to holding training camp practices in there.
They have not.
Not ones that are open to the public.
Yes.
So
now a source that we have that we were able to talk to while we were here today said that their suspicion is that the team will do 2, maybe 3 official, we're going to do these inside the practice facility and open those up and make a big deal about, because there's certainly tons of bleachers in there to hold everybody.
Is this the conversation when I was still waiting outside that you were going to tell me later?
You weren't here. It might be.
Yeah.
Breaking inside. Wow, I didn't remember.
Breaking news to Ren.
Yeah, I didn't. So yeah,
because remember you told me
this particular source told me, and I like saying that like it's some big secret, right?
Yeah. My source is always Twitter.
My source. I don't. Can I actually? I don't know. It was a person. As a source, it was a person.
Actually was a person.
Yes,
I was actually talking to.
But this person said that they're, but nobody knows for sure. They haven't decided. Right. But he said he feels that it'd be.
There's a clue.
It's not a girl, like the tour guide we've been talking about. Feels that it would be 2 or 3, and then if they go out and it's raining, they may go over there and shuffle people into it. But outside of that, they will still practice outside a lot. Right. Training camp will still happen outdoors in Tampa to get these guys ready. So if you're looking forward to training camp and coming every day and being in the training facility, you better rethink that thought.
You might want to check the schedule.
Yeah.
And that sounds like more sense, you know, because they do have certain special days during training camp. They have 2 season ticket holder only days.
Right.
They have a military day.
Right.
So I'm sure they're going to add on 2, maybe 3, for sure, indoor practice facilities.
Because I was wondering, would they maybe even split practice? Put all the people in the training facility and then have, Group A and B doing drills inside the training facility while the rest are out on the outdoor fields, and then maybe rotate them through.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they maybe, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense on a logistics
like a lot of
level.
production.
It does. Just for the fans who are coming to watch you practice for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But it's still not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
So now we're in there.
Yeah.
I still hate the red end zones. I hated the red end zones when they're at Tampa or Ray J. I don't like them now. But besides that, the first thing I will say is that it's a lot higher.
In person.
When you get there and you actually look up to see how high it is.
Right. Because we had this conversation. The thing they said was you could kick punts in this building. And you can.
Yes.
You very much can.
You very much can.
But you know that Brian Anger walked in there the very first time.
Picked up a ball and see if he could hit the roof.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he can.
Because that's what you and I would have done. If there had been a football and you would have said, hey, can I kick this and see what I can do?
Yeah,
you would have tried.
I think the first thing I would have done, but you know what, I would have walked more towards the sidelines and try to get one of the
where it slopes.
Yeah, one of the lower angles.
Right.
And then after
off the foot.
Yeah, and then keep
it.
Next thing I know, I'm 1 foot from the exit door. Boop! I got it. It's only 12 feet above me. And then I would have started trying field goals. So, like I said, it's the apex of the building is a lot higher, and you can kick in there. I mean, it's high. It's higher than probably most NFL punts are usually go, when you're taking in distance and height versus distance. Now, if you get a professional punter in there, can he hit the roof? Probably. The last thing I want to talk about.
Something I thought was interesting about the training facility, and this might be what you were actually getting ready to say.
And if you take it, I'm gonna.
Is it the air conditioning system they have in there? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
This is by far the most interesting thing I learned all day long.
I feel like I knew this from last year.
I never heard it.
I feel like I knew it, but it wasn't. It was one of those things when they said it, I went, "Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing something about that."
No, I think what you're thinking about is when we did our fantasy podcast. What are the 10 things we wanted?
Yes.
Okay.
Because this was one of the things that Ren wanted in his training.
Was it me?
I think it was.
It was either me or you or the guest.
It was one of the three of us. Go back in the feed of the Pewtercast podcast feed there.
Yeah, we did a show. We did a show that basically was what are the top 10 things you want to see? Off the wall, wacky, and it was all about
money's no issue.
Do whatever you want to do. And one of us said that be able to make it rain, simulate any type of weather condition.
Yeah.
Make it rain, make it snow, have it there so if they're going to Philly and it's going to be 30 below zero, they can do it. Well, apparently,
That's
the
what
tour
they
guide
did.
The tour guide said that they built this, and it's not like normal air conditioners where you just turn it down and see how cold it gets. She said they can get it close to 30 degrees in there. And
like
this
if they're
is
going to play in Buffalo.
And this
was
is
the
a
example she used.
big building. I think, and talk about forethought, I was talking about that podium.
Yeah.
I was impressed. And now
it's because they listen to the Pewtercast, Ren.
Yeah, that's it. Like, what
Jason
a
like
great
Dirk
idea.
Cutter, man. We know Dirk Cutter listens to all
Is
his
that them
clippings.
knocking on the door?
That might be.
Give us 5, guys. We'll be out in a minute. Yeah, I know it's your room. Give me a second. So
Ray just said we're going to be done in 5.
we'll
Go
be
ahead,
done
Ren.
in 5. Sorry, guys. Yeah, give me a second. All right. So anyway, of all the things that
I hear Uncle Stan's lurking around here. So.
coming back for a cameo. I thought that was really impressive. I thought a lot of forethought, and now that's my new bucket list.
Yeah.
Is to get in that building
When it's 30?
When it's 30.
Yeah.
Because, I know there's ice houses and industrial beef coolers. But this place is big.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how much money it costs to drop that thing to 30 degrees.
A lot. I want to know how much time it takes. Like, what's the turnaround time? Like, does Coach Cutter have to call somebody 2 days in advance?
Yeah.
And be like, hey, we're going to use this.
I'm sure they plan it. Like, if they go, they're going to be like Buffalo in, November. I'm saying,
Wouldn't it be cool, though, if they could actually simulate rain?
You can. It's fire sprinklers. You can. You pull.
Right, but then you'd have to figure out drainage and stuff like that for inside the building. But they could. Because the training facility. Let's talk about this. The training facility really is. It's a turf field inside of a structure.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a football field inside of a structure.
There's a couple of bleachers. There's a couple of rooms for bathrooms, and that's it.
That is it.
There's nothing else there. There's no storage. There's no nothing.
It's a very expensive
$20 million.
Picnic gazebo. Like we'd go out at Fort DeSoto Park. You have to rent one.
That's why the Buccaneers are raising ticket prices this year.
To pay for the picnic gazebo.
All right, Ren. So we're there. We're at the training facility. I had a neat experience. I looked up. Apparently, there was another private tour that was happening while our tour was happening as well. And I look over and I see this guy, and it's freaking Joel Glazer.
Is it?
And I'm looking, and then I look up and I see you walking by him.
Uh-huh.
And I say, hey, is that Mr. Glazer? And you're like, no, not at all.
Yeah,
I totally thought that's who that was.
Okay. I wasn't sure where you were going with that. Yeah, once we sort of got into the practice facility, I knew it was the end of the tour. I went a little rogue.
Yeah.
I kind of broke off from the group, and I walked all the way down the other end, took a couple of pictures. I really wanted to see the outside patio she was talking about.
They're making some sort of patio out there.
Yeah, where the walls open up to, and there's going to be functions out there. I just wanted to take a peek at it and see what they're talking about. But there was an older gentleman who was in, the Glazers' age range in a Buccaneers shirt, sort of taking this family on tour. But yeah, I had to walk by him to go down to the end, and then when I came back, I walked by him again. So it wasn't. So I guess, your story wasn't that interesting?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, it was the build-up that was more interesting. It was like a J.J. Abrams movie, actually. The build-up way more interesting than what it actually turned out to be. So, anyway, Ren, that was our day.
That was it, man.
And then we're back to the atrium again and off to the parking lots.
Up to the parking lot, and now we're recording pods inside the building.
We snuck back in.
Yeah, we're climbing up the food chain slowly but surely.
Listen, we are one step away from that media credential, my friend.
We are.
I'm telling you.
One step closer.
So with that, Ren, I think we have some beauties to go deliver.
Yes.
So we should get out of here before everybody goes home for the day.
Yes.
So with that, guys, listen. Thanks so much for joining us on this tour. If you're still listening, that was Ren's one short day through One Buc Place, and I think this podcast probably took about as long as that tour.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer, actually.
I'm a better storyteller. What can I say?
So with that, guys, if you want to email us about anything, that you've heard. You got any questions? We can answer for you. Email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook @thepewtercast. Ren, where can the fine people out there find you?
Best way as always is to find me on Twitter @Rendax REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me personally, you can find me @Brent Allen Live across all the different social medias. And once again, the show is @thepewtercast. Facebook.com/thepewtercast and thepewtercast@gmail.com. Well, that's going to wrap up this particular stop on the off-season tour. You guys stay tuned. You never know where we are going to land next. And until next time, go Bucs.
'18 Giants Tour.